Civil engineering, as practiced in the Philippines during the Spanish era, was not by virtue of an academic title. There were no civil engineering schools in the country at that time, and the only architects or engineers with academic degrees were Spaniards. Social justice constrained the repressed Indio builders to content themselves to be called mere maestro de obras or master builders, even if they could design, build any type of structure that technology could allow at that time. Master builders, as of today, were equivalent to construction foreman. The walled city in Intramuros was established by the Spaniards in 1521 on 0.67 square kilometers of land strategically chosen between Manila Bay and the Pasig River. Its purpose was to be the Spaniards' political and military base in Asia. Grand administrative establishments, as well as religious and educational institutions, was also one of its purpose. And within Intramuros, it is where only nation's most powerful clans could settle, or what we call the mostly from Spanish descent. The friar architects or engineers during that time were the ones who built the government buildings, bridges, residential, and other structures, incorporated European standards in engineering and architectural installations. Miguel Lopez de Legazpi founded the city of Manila on June 24, 1571. The Spaniards started building the Fort Santiago or Fuerte de Santiago after the establishment of City of Manila under Spanish rule on June 24, 1571. With the arrival of the Franciscan order to Manila in 1577, they began with construction of wood and cane churches that succumbed to natural catastrophes. In 1739, they constructed a stone church that was financed by the public charity and became richest in Intramuros. The St. Augustine Church is the oldest stone church in the Philippines. It was built in 1599. However, it was also destroyed and rebuilt many times. It is an immense structure of thick walls of Corinthian and Ionic designs. In 1621, Don Bernardino Castillo, a generous patron and a well-known devotee of Saint Sebastian, the patron of archers, donated his lot, which is now the present site of San Sebastian Church. The original church was made of wood, but was burned in 1851 during a Chinese uprising. The succeeding structures were destroyed by fire twice and an earthquake in 1859, 1883, and 1880 respectively. Puente Grande was the first bridge erected across the Grand Rio del Pasig, built in 1632. This wooden bridge connects Intramuros and Binondo together, making it easier and relatively faster to travel from one end to the other. It underwent several reconstruction and renovation, as it was always heavily damaged by earthquakes after the 1883 earthquake. Puente Grande was renamed to Puente de España, or Puente de España. The bridge was replaced in 1875, widening its span to masonry of 6 and 2 central houses. It can accommodate both pedestrians and vehicles including the horses or the carabaos, which draws carts and carriage, and also tranvia. This bridge was replaced for the last time with a neoclassical design by Juan Arellano in the 1930s and was called the Jones Bridge. The first artesian wells were built in Bells, Pampanga by Father Manuel Camanes. The water system in Manila, now MWSS, had its beginning from the waterworks constructed by Father Juan Figuero in 1686. The first irrigation system was constructed in Tanay Rizal by Father Jose Delgado. The Pasig River Lighthouse, The Pasig River Lighthouse was the first lighthouse masonry built, erected in the Philippines. It was first lighted on 1846 and deactivated on 1992. It was then located on the North Jetty at the mouth of Pasig River or San Nicolas, Manila, marking the entrance to the river for vessels around Manila Bay, looking to dock on the ports along the banks of the river in Manila. Puente Colgante, which is the term for a suspension bridge in Spanish, literally hanging bridge. It is the first suspension bridge built in Southeast Asia when it was started in 1849 and completed in 1852. It was built and owned by Intosti y Compaya, the business headed by Jose Joaquin de Incausti. The bridge was first named Puente de Claveria, likely in honor of the Governor-General of the Philippines, Narciso Claveria, who served 1844 to 1849. The suspension bridge measures 110 meters and 7 meters wide and had 2 lanes that allowed passage of horses and carabao-drawn carriages. It was also opened for pedestrians traveling on foot between Quiapo and Intramuros and nearby areas. Next, we have in 1868 when the Bureau of Public Works and Highways or Obras Publicas and Bureau of Communications and Transportation, Comunicaciones y Metalurgia were organized under a civil engineer known as the Director General. The coming of the Americans brought about drastic changes in our engineering culture. The new colonizers pursued benevolent policies that focused on English education, public health, free enterprise, and representative governance, thus bringing with them were military engineers too. Thomasite teachers, doctors, and evangelists. Under the civil government established in July 1901, such assimilation manifested itself physically in the form of infrastructures, highways, bridges, schools, hospital, and government buildings steadily transformed the Philippine landscape. The foundation of Liceo de Manila, a private institution offering academic course for Maestro de Obras and headed by Leon Maria Guerrero, the first private school to offer an academic title for Maestro de Obras, or the forerunner of formal education in architecture or engineering. The introduction of reinforced concrete also in the Philippines was in the 1900s, and it's used in the construction of Masonic Temple, Grand Lodge of the Philippines. It was the first multi-structure in Escota, Manila. Transportation under American regime was depended largely on trails, waterways, railroad, earth roads, and partially graveled roads. Highway in the Philippines at that time is nothing more than a dream to most Filipinos. The U.S. government then initiated the development of roadways in the Philippines connecting towns, cities, and provinces. The popular macadam road type was introduced. It gained acceptance because of abundant supply of stones and gravel. The faculty of the University of Santo Tomas or UST is the oldest engineering school in the Philippines. It was established May 18, 1907 as a School of Civil Engineering with one program offering leading to the degree of Master of Science in Civil Engineering or MSCE. The Wawa Dam, also known as Montalban Dam, is a gravity dam constructed over the Marikina River in the municipality of Rodriguez in Rizal Province, Philippines. The slightly arc is situated in the 360 meters high Montalban Gorge or Wawa Gorge, a water gap in the Sierra Madre Mountains and east of Manila. It was built in 1909 during the American colonial era to provide water needs for Metro Manila. It used to be the only source of water for Manila until Angat Dam was built and Wawa Dam was abandoned. Due to insufficiency of water supply for Metro Manila, there was a strong clamor to reuse the dam. The tides of war in the Pacific came in December 1941 and thereby interrupted the normal operations of the schools and colleges. By order of the President of the Philippines, all schools were closed. When the Japanese forces entered in Manila, January 1942, they occupied the colleges and school buildings. However, we have Kaliraya Dam. It is an embankment dam located in the town of Lumban, province of Laguna, in the Sierra Madre mountain range of the Philippines. The reservoir created by the dam produced also a water and other water source for the nearby residents. We also have Lake Kaliraya, initially supplied one of the oldest hydroelectric plants in the Philippines and later became a popular recreational area for numerous water sports and fishing. The Ambuklaw Dam was the highest and biggest in the Far East. It is made of earth and rockfill which measures 129 meters in height and 452 meters in length. The elevation of its crest is 758 meters, and the roadway that runs through the top of the dam has an elevation of 756 meters. The drainage area is 686 square kilometers and is 11 kilometers long with a maximum width of 1 kilometer. The construction began on July 1950. Then it opened on December 23, 1956. The first 13 years of the airport were marked by the building of infrastructure dedicated to the international flights, that is, during the Third Republic of the Philippines. The international runway and associated taxiway were built in 1953 and 1961. So the completion of a control tower and a terminal building for the exclusive use of international passengers at the southwest intersection of the runways. This system came to be officially known as the Manila International Airport or MIA. The Association of Structural Engineers of the Philippines or ASEP was also founded in this year, which is 1961. On June 1973, President Ferdinand E. Marcos issued Presidential Decree 223 creating the Professional Regulation Commission or PRC, regulating all professions and accrediting only one organization to represent each profession. On December 11, 1973, the SEC or Securities and Exchange Commission issued registration certification number 53896 to the Philippine Institute of Civil Engineers Incorporated, or PICE. This was the culmination and fulfillment of a vision to merge two separate organizations of civil engineers in the country way back, which was the Philippine Society of Civil Engineers, or PSCE, and the Philippine Association of Civil Engineers, or PACE. The first international convention was held in the Philippines on May 20 to 24, 1975, with the theme Civil Engineering in Disaster Prevention Control. On August 13, 1975, the PRC recognized PICE as the only official organization of civil engineers in the Philippines with an accreditation number 007. Next, on February 1974, the first election of officers of PICE was held, and Engineer Cesar Caliwara became its first president. In order to truly unite the civil engineers of the Philippines, maybe, say, provincial chapters were also organized. The Bureau of Public Highways, or BPH, was also expanded as the Department of Public Highways. The former Bureau of Public Highways was expanded and restructured into Department of Public Highways, or DPH, for a more effective administration of the country's highway system through Administrative Order Number 2, dated July 1, 1974. Presidential Decree 1096 then, or otherwise known as the National Building Code of the Philippines, or the NBCP, was signed by then President Ferdinand Marcos on February 1997, and its implementing rules and regulations, or IRR. Pantabangan Dam. It is an earth-filled embankment dam on the Pampanga River located in Pantabangan in Nueva Ecija province of the Philippines. The multi-purpose dam provides water for irrigation and hydroelectric power generation, while its reservoir Pantabangan Lake serves as for the flood control. The reservoir, Pantabangan, is one of the largest in Southeast Asia, and also one of the cleanest in the Philippines. Construction of Pantabangan Dam began in 1971, and it was completed 1977. The Magat Dam was constructed in 1978 and inaugurated by the late President Ferdinand E. Marcos on October 27, 1982. Operations started during 1983. This Magat Dam is a rock-filled dam with a height of 114 meters and length of 4,160 meters. Magat Dam was Southeast Asia's first large multi-purpose dam. The dam is part of the Magat River Multipurpose Project, MRMP, which was financed by the World Bank and whose purpose is to improve on the existing Magat River irrigation system, or the project called MARIS, and to triple the production of rice in the Cagayan River Basin. Next, during 1980, there was increase of handheld calculators, which revolutionized engineering with faster and more efficient calculations, leaving the old slide rule behind. In 1980, President Marcos founded the Rural Water Works Development Corporation, or RWDC, which is responsible for water supply. On July 12, 1980, the country's president again created the Light Rail Transit Authority, or LRTA, as a government agency. This LRTA, or Light Railway Transit Authority, confined its activities to determining policies, regulation, and fixing of fares, and to the planning of extensions to the system. This project was called Metro Rail and was operated by a sister company of the former tramway company Meralco and Metro Incorporated. So that's it. Here ends our presentation regarding history of civil engineering in the Philippines.